I honestly wish somebody would have told me how overrated it is to own a home. My fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting. I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We are saving so much. We were really young and stupid when we bought our house, so I'll give you that. But the weight that has been lifted off of our shoulders is, I can't explain it. There is so much maintenance that comes with the house, and our mortgage was ridiculously expensive. I can't even say the number because I'm embarrassed. We are probably not going to buy again for a very long time, or at least until we find our forever home. Just a PSA, if you're not ready for the maintenance and the cost that it comes to own a house, don't do it. Take your time. Please take your time, find a good realtor.
Is this really what the real estate market is coming to? I'm convinced that new construction builders have officially lost their mind. D.R. Horton is slapping together these cookie-cutter homes in Florence, South Carolina, and asking nearly $300,000 for a single story and over $400,000 for a two-story home. $400,000 for this? Who's actually paying these prices? Because I know I wouldn't, but to each his own. This can't be what the market really wants. Or is it?
Owning a home is supposed to be the ultimate life milestone that people should have. But right now, here we have a lot of videos of people regretting home ownership. They regret that they bought a home and they're ready to go back to renting, and some just prefer that they rent than for them to own a home, and they just live in regrets. Now, there are many reasons why people feel this way. We could go on and on. It could be the mortgage prices actually increasing on them and maybe unaffordable for the person who purchased the house. Could be being house poor, doing the whole maintenance, like you not being prepared, like, because there are a lot of people who are not prepared for like having to deal with homes. Maybe they've been so used to renting that they don't really know what actually comes with owning a home, where everything that breaks down, it's actually up to you. You're supposed to deal with that. And then the houses that are being built, houses in the US is actually built a little bit, very, very cheaply. And due to this house is built cheaply and the woods and everything, no bricks mostly, honestly, it kind of makes the house very liable for termites and the molds. So dealing with all this kind of situations can really be overwhelming for a lot of people, and that's the reason why we have people who regret buying a home and feeling like the house is not worth it. We're going to be checking out this video and their rant on this particular topic and see why each and every one of them is complaining.
I became a homeowner at 22 years old, and I instantly regretted that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you why I regretted it, though. So I ended up putting 78,000 down on my house, right? And once you get your house, right, you become house poor. Okay? Now, everybody's not gonna be house poor. I was house poor. I'm just speaking from my experience, bro. I'm young as shit, buying a house. I'm house poor at this point. I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I did not really gauge all the maintenance that it took to take care of a house. On top of that, I had to put work into the house. They sold us the house, right? Sold the house with mold in it. How did I not know it was mold in it? Did you not get an inspector? Yeah, I had an inspector. This what these dirty, nasty, gritty people did. Scantless, right? They painted over the mold so thick that the detectors couldn't get it. And it didn't even smell like mold down there, nothing. It was all dry, right? So I had to go in, get the walls chopped out, get the house waterproofed, whatever that came up to. So this is just more stuff you got to come out of. But all in all, I would say that I really regretted it once I figured out how much the maintenance was, bro. And like how often you got to do certain things, and obviously it makes it a little sweeter that it's your shit and it's an investment, but for me personally, I just was not ready for that. Now the house is about to sell. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with the cash that I do get from the house. Obviously I might invest in another property. I think that's where my head's at, but just something to like rent out or something, you know what I'm saying? Not to live in. I can't do it. I'd rather live in an apartment. I'm gonna be honest. You can call me crazy all you want, but I just feel like at this point in my life, I should be living in an apartment, bro. A house is a lot. It's a lot.
I'm going to say something, and I'm going to risk sounding extremely privileged. I know it's a privileged statement, but it's a conversation that I still think is important to have. I'm 29 years old, and I purchased my first home at 27. Right at the tail end of being 27, right before I turned 28. And I kind of regret it. I do regret it. I bought a home too soon. I bought a home before I actually was ready. And I was doing it because I felt this pressure to check certain milestones. You know, I'm looking around at people around me. I'm looking at other people's beanstalks. And I'm feeling this pressure to accomplish a certain thing by a certain timeline in my life. A timeline that I literally imposed upon myself. I was in a long-term relationship from 22 to 27, right after I turned 27. And yeah, I think a part of me stayed in that relationship because I thought that by like 30, life was going to be a certain way. And when I went through that breakup, I kind of started over from scratch, you know, moved into an apartment and started rebuilding my life. And so I think I felt this urgency to buy a house because it would have made my ego ultimately feel safer and be like, okay, well, I might not have like might not be married yet with kids, but at least I bought a house. And yeah, I felt like I needed to buy a house. When I got out of that relationship and got into an apartment, I was like, I'm gonna buy a house. And I always felt like it was such a great financial decision. You know, if I'm paying rent every month and it's disappearing, like, where is it going? If I can buy a house, I can make an investment. I've seen a lot of people in my time working in finance make a lot of money in real estate. So I was like, okay, I want to be like the most financially smart. Buying a house was not the most financially smart thing for me because it increased my cost of living substantially. I went from paying like $1,700 a month in rent to a mortgage payment with after the HOA fee of $2,600. And initially, when I was in contract to buy my house, I was going to have my sister move in with me and rent from me. So when I went into the contract to buy the house, I was kind of planning on having a roommate. But then things fell apart because my sister's addiction was kind of ramping back up. And I guess I could have moved a stranger in, but I just didn't feel like I like the whole purpose of buying this house was to like get into a place of safety to heal. And I felt like having a stranger in my house, that wouldn't help. So I started putting a ton more money towards my living expenses every month. And then 2 months, no, not 2 months, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 8 months after purchasing my house, I lost my job. And then I'm like stuck with this house. You can't sell a house for at least 2 years without paying short-term capital gains on taxes. And selling a house is expensive. You have to pay for the seller agent's commission. You have to pay also for the buyer's agent commission. So you're paying for whoever purchases your house, their real estate agent too. You have excise tax, you have title fees, potentially short-term capital gains. Selling a house is very expensive, not to mention like getting it ready to sell, whatever that looks like. Okay, so what would be the other option is you could move a tenant in and you could then go find some other way of living, but then you have to deal with a tenant and managing a rental property and everything that comes with that. And I just bought a house too soon. And it was not the best financial decision for me. And I just don't think it's talked about enough. Purchasing a home is important, but purchasing a home when you're ready is more important. And I feel like maybe it's just where I grew up in small town America, but it's like I felt like there was so much outside pressure to hit certain milestones, and I was forcing myself to do things or like, you know, pushing myself to meet those milestones when I wasn't even ready for it. So now I'm in a position where I'm 29 and I'm going to sell my house. I was going to move a tenant in and rent it out, and I just realized I don't want to deal with that. It's the home that I bought is in my hometown, and I don't want to have to deal with going back and dealing with it and all of that kind of stuff. So buying a home before I was ready was not the best financial decision. And I just think we need to have this conversation more. And yes, I'm so grateful that I was in a position to be able to purchase a home. Like, don't get me wrong. I recognize the privilege behind this conversation. I know there's so many people that, you know, want to be in the position of being homeowners and maybe aren't there just yet because the housing market's crazy, rates are crazy, You know, we don't need to get into that conversation. We're underpaid, but moral of the story, I recognize the privilege and I still think it's an important conversation to be had.
Transparency post. I regret buying a house. I regret it a lot. If I could go back to January 2022, I would tell that girl, do not. Just find another apartment to move into, because doing all this shit that I have to do for this house and all the unexpected costs, high dollar unexpected costs that I keep running into, to be handling it by myself, is ass. So to all you young women who want to go out and buy a home, I encourage you to really, really think about it. Talk to some people and really see the ins and outs. I mean, it always sounds good. Oh yeah, your mortgage is only going to be $1,000 until they reevaluate your property taxes, and that bitch goes up $200. You know, it's trash. 85 degrees, your AC is going to go out. You don't want to know how much that costs. It's trash.
There's a side of being a woman homeowner when it's just you, there's no man in the house, and that is having to pretend that you have a husband whenever it comes to getting certain things done around the house. I have lied to so many men. I've had to lie to so many men over the years just to make sure that I am not getting ripped off, because unfortunately that is the reality. I kid you not, y'all. I had to have someone come to one of my friends, they came to my house last week, they were over, and I had him pretend to be my husband because I'm getting some landscaping done in my backyard currently, and I really wanted them to believe that there is a man living in this house. And like, I had him go talk to the landscaper and like talk numbers and stuff like that, just to make sure that I am not getting ripped off, because as a woman, unfortunately, that is something that we have to experience, that we end up experiencing. And I will run numbers by my dad, by my friends, just to make sure that's not happening. And I will lie and straight up say that, hey, I need to talk to my husband, or hey, I need to do this. I need to wait on my husband first, because if not, if they think it's just you in the house, they will try to get off on you. They will try to play you. They will play in your face if you let them. So I have learned, depending on the situation, I will lie and say that I am married, that I have to talk to my husband, and that I have to run numbers with my husband. And like, I will do what I have to do, okay? Because you're not gonna play me in my own house. Absolutely not.
Being a home in today's world actually sucks. We were told that it would make us financially free, but why do I feel broke as ever? My AC unit went out last week. Replacing a unit could cost you up to $20,000. With my luck, I just had to replace mine, but thank goodness for my friend's portable AC unit and ceiling fan. To save money, I tried to do some DIY projects on my own, and even that starts to add up. Also, homes aren't built the same anymore. The upgrades are cheap and nothing is made to last. Take this room for instance. I can't even reach the light to replace the bulb. And over time, homes just crack, and these cracks are so far up, I can't fill it or paint the room. So I have to hire it out, and I just feel like I'm constantly paying bills after bills and I can't save any money. In the first 2 years of owning this place, I had to replace the stove and the fridge. My kitchen floor is lifting, and so is the ones in my bathroom. I rented out while I was living in other cities, and even then I was just paying so much money for someone to manage it. Now I have to cough up more money to pay for all of the wear and tear that just happened when it was rented out. Long story short, if you feel bad that you don't own a home, don't. Owning a home isn't the reality our parents told us. The cost of living is through the roof. We're paying more for less, and of course our paychecks remain the same. Anyone else feeling this way, and what are you guys doing to save money these days?
This is a story of our termite and rat infested dump of a house that we bought in Florida. So we had been living in Chicago for about 2 years. We were excited to try something new, move to Florida, be sunny and warm weather, and we decided on this house. When we first saw it and we walked through it, the sellers were present during that time. So I thought that was a little bit weird, but we were first time home buyers. We didn't know that this was strange, but all the furniture was too. And we did notice a weird smell, but we thought, no, they're just a little bit dirty. And you know, the smell will go away as soon as they remove their furniture. We then had an inspection done, and they were present during that time as well, which I also thought was strange, but we let it slide. We walked through, it smelled really, really bad. We saw the dirtiness and we thought, okay, we just need to clean up. We were told during the inspection that everything worked properly, the HVAC, everything was great. We just had a rat and termite problem, and that it could be easily fixed with just some fumigating. So we had the house fully tented before we moved down. We show up and we see this mess. There's poop everywhere. There's pee. It's horrible. It's in a worse condition than we thought. Also, nothing works, which I'll get into later. And we can't even live in this place. So now we have to stay in an Airbnb for a month, which we did not expect.
For the most part, owning a home, the place you have a problem with it is actually paying that mortgage. The mortgage is the part that actually, really, really hurts a lot of people. Because I feel like after you've paid all the mortgage, you're done with it. Like, you're done with all your payments, and everything else you have to pay is just your house insurance and taxes. It kind of reduces the pressure for you and you feel happy. That's really when you start thinking like, oh, you know what, maybe I made a life investment. The truth is, I feel like a lot of houses being built cheaply, is it really an investment? Because yeah, I feel like the land is an investment because nothing's going to happen to the land. At least mostly nothing might happen to the land. It's there, and the issue is the building itself. I can see how fast buildings are being made. Like when you drive by a new construction, it's just like some flimsy wood being put together and glued together, and it's just kind of sad for some cheap wood to be glued together and for it to cost that much, and for people to actually be struggling like we're struggling to afford those places, and they didn't even cost that much to be built. So knowing that they're not going to last that much though, like, they will break down, let somebody just go away. I think let you just try to go away for possibly a year and come back to that house and see what happens to it. So they will last as long as it takes for you to be paying the mortgage for those places. At the end of the day, when people complain about something and say it doesn't work for them, there are still some people that it worked for. Some people were able to, and that actually helped them open a way for them to own multiple properties, have people renting, have they get some monthly paycheck coming in. So it's something that works for some, and it's something that doesn't work for some people. Some people cannot deal with this burden, and that's okay. I feel like we shouldn't shame them. Like, really, these places actually cost so much.
So my kids and I had to move out of our 1-year-old new construction Lennar home for mold. I found out about the mold about 2 weeks ago. For the past 2 weeks, my kids have been sick. Between headaches, sore throat, they actively both have coughs. You could just tell in their eyes that they're not 100%. Luckily, they're still joyful, they're still active, they're still able to move around and appear to be themselves. But you can tell that, they're affected by what's going on. Fevers on and off and things like that. So they've missed a couple days of school because of it. And I just can't risk it getting any worse. It's too inconsistent with them being sick. I can't pinpoint and say it's this, it's that, or whatever until I find out. So I am going to be taking them to the doctor to get whatever is needed, antibiotics, cough medicine, cold medicine, pain medicine. I don't know what's actually going to be required, but it's just a very unfortunate situation that I'm in, that I have to, pull my kids out of their routine and out of their comfort, but I just can't risk, I have no idea what's going on with the mold, what kind of mold it is. The company won't come out until next week. Their earliest appointment is next Thursday to be able to test and tell me what the mold is, what the source is, and what they can do about it. Because I've been in my Lennar home for a year, my warranty was up May 9th. But as y'all know, if you're in Florida, we had that tropical storm or Hurricane Debbie, which they're backed up because a lot of people suffered water damage, bad water damage from that, which is why they have no sooner appointments. But because of that storm, I honestly, yes, baby. No, it's not raining. Yeah, so I don't know what the cause, I don't know what the primary cause is. I believe I know what the cause is, but we're going to wait to see what the company says next week. Hopefully, Lennar agrees to cover it and fix it, because if the cause is what I know it is and what I think it is, which I found out about after contacting the company and like looking at those areas, that's very much a them issue. I never knew what a weep hole was, but I learned what a weep hole was. And in both of the areas, one wall I had a picture, just a picture on the wall. The other wall I had made a mirror wall. Both of those walls have windows next to them. Both of those windows have weep holes at the bottom of them. Bottom of them. Oh my gosh. On the side furthest away from where the mold is building up, those weep holes are open, which means the house and the walls are getting the ventilation that they're supposed to have. The areas closest to where the picture is and where the mirror wall is, that weep hole is sealed shut with either plaster or whatever material that they used when they was doing the window seal or painting the house or whatever. That weep hole closest to those areas that have mold is completely sealed shut. So they try to tell me that it was on me, that, you know, it's the type of pictures that I'm putting up, it's the type of stuff that I'm putting on the wall that's creating this mold, which makes no sense. There has to be a cause, an initial cause, or an initial source, and that's not on me. So unfortunately, you know, for my kids' health, my well-being, I had to leave the house. Fortunately, my mother lives about 30 minutes away, so we're gonna go camp out with her. In order, you know, for my sanity, I have to consider that we're going on a vacation. I have to tell myself we're going on vacation before I lose my mind, because it's unfortunate and it's inconvenient and it's just, you know, for everybody involved. Like, we have our space. One, I worked hard to get my house. That's for one. For two, now I have this anxiety that, you know, if they don't cover it, what do I do next, right? Especially when I know it's not my fault why this is happening. It's a brand new house. Three, my kids have been sick because of it. Four, we're having to go to my mom's house, and there's three of us, you know, taking up room and space in my mom's house, right? So it's just an unfortunate situation, and it's already been 2 weeks waiting on them to come check the wall out for me to get answers. And then even once they do give me the answers, I don't know what that process looks like after. What's the remediation process? Like, what does this look like? The walls that are affected are big walls in my house. You have to now cut the wall out. One of the walls goes all the way up to my second floor. It goes all the way up to my ceiling. So what does that look like? How much mold? Where does it spread to? Where does it stop? Where does it start? It's just so many questions, and it's just so, yes, baby. Yeah, we're going to Gigi's house now. Yes. It's just so many questions, and it's just so inconvenient and just so unfortunate. But for my sanity, I'm trying to tell myself we're just going on a vacation. So hopefully next week, Thursday, when they come test everything out, they are able to give me definitive answers, and well, NAR says that they're going to cover it as they should. Then we have a solution to the problem. So if you pray for us. If you don't, wish us well. But if you're thinking about getting a home, if you own a home and you're within your 1 year, get inspections, check your house out, do all the things, check your little weep holes, look at each of your windows on the outside of the house and make sure your weep holes are open or not clogged. They're fully open so your walls are getting ventilation. Do all the things. Do all the things, because once that 1 year is up, guess what? Stuff's gonna start just coming out. And these houses are built like out of paper, out of straw, thin, trash. Materials are horrible. Trash. Se basura.
We bought our first home on February 10th, and on February 11th, it started flooding from over 20 spots. Every single penny we had went into this house. We thought we were giving our baby a safe home, but we were scammed. And now there's mold. It's spreading. He's only 5 months old, and we have to get him out. We have no savings left. We have nowhere to go. We need to move. Now I'm begging TikTok for help. Not for donations, but just to watch, share, and help us go viral so I can start making money on here to get my family out. If this was your baby, what would you do?
Please help us get seen. Thank you. We may have termites. So I sent our pest control company pictures of these little bugs that I found. Turns out they may be termites. We get the confirmation tomorrow, but obviously it's disappointing. I've already cried about it today and now I'm accepting it. It is what it is. We're going to get it taken care of, but it just sucks overall, you know. We've barely been in this home for a few years, but something that actually the pest control told us was that a lot of times what happens is the construction company, if they have any debris, any wood, they'll just kind of like bury it, and these termites then will like come out, they'll eat whatever debris was there and eventually pretty much find their way to the home. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow. We'll confirm. The pest control is going to stop by and they're going to pick them up, a few of the little bugs, and then they'll look at it under a microscope and then probably be able to tell right away. But yeah, that's where we are. They said for the treatment, it will be that they'll dig like 6 inches all along the perimeter of the house, and they'll do trenches and then put the termiticide, however you say it, and there should be like a warranty, like manufacturer warranty or something of like 10 years, because it's more of an like expensive product that they use. And we might like shop around too and like see what another pest control company says, but yeah, that's where we are. So apparently they're called subterranean termites. If you have any experience with that, let me know. But I mean, just stressed about it, but trying to keep a good perspective that, you know, we're healthy. A fun fact: subterranean termites are found in every state except Alaska. Tomorrow, we'll find out whether we have termites.
Let me share with you my biggest money mistake so you don't have to make the same one. Because you can afford something doesn't mean you should buy it. A car, a house, a wedding, pretty much anything. I bought a condo in the GTA during the peak of the real estate prices. And trust me, it was the worst financial decision I've ever made so far. I'm not proud of it, but I did fall into the keeping up with the Joneses trap. In the past couple of years, I've started making more money than I've ever made before. Before that, I was a server. And while I made good money as a server, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, on the other hand, was literally impossible. Once I got my government job, owning a place felt like a real possibility. But here's where I went wrong. I always thought renting was such a waste of money. I had this idea: why should I pay someone else's mortgage when I could pay for my own place? Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. What I didn't realize is that owning a home isn't necessarily an investment, especially if you're living in it. Sure, if I were renting it out and the rent covered the costs like mortgage, property taxes, and fees, it could have been a smart move. But that wasn't my situation. Not to mention, at this point in time, it felt like everyone around me owned a home. My friends, my family, my coworkers, all owned houses. And trust me when I say this, comparing yourself to where other people are at is one of the worst things you can do. And here's the real kicker: the $100K I put down for a down payment, if I had invested that in the stock market with an average of like say 7 to 8%, now that would have been an investment. So here's my message to you: don't compare yourself to others. Material things don't bring happiness and oftentimes actually cause more stress than it's worth. You don't need to buy a home as your only option for an investment. Even if you're a late bloomer like me, it's never too late to chase your dreams. Hope you guys have an amazing day.
Hey, big dog, don't buy that house. Not if it's going to leave you so broke to the point that the only place you can afford to go is work. I personally know somebody who bought a house that they qualified for on paper, but probably couldn't afford. And every single month is a struggle for them. I would not wish that upon anybody. This is why you have to know the difference between eligibility and affordability. Because when you go to get pre-approved to buy a home, a lender is going to qualify you for the maximum amount that you can qualify for. You have to know that they are qualifying you based off of your pre-tax income, aka your gross income. And we're also only looking at your credit debts, like credit cards, car payments, and student loans. We ain't looking at your utilities. We're not looking at your daycare. We're not looking at your gas and groceries and everything that you also have to pay for every month just to live. Yeah, your lender might have approved you for a $500,000 house, but before you go any further, you need to see what that payment on that $500,000 house look like, because it is better to rent than to be house poor. This is why I always tell people,
you spend so much money for it, it's just gonna end up costing you more. You need to repair this part. This part breaks down, you need to fix it. Strictly purchasing a home actually really depends on you and what you're capable of doing. If you're capable of doing the maintenance and you feel like it's worth it in the end of the day for you to pay that than for you to be paying like somebody else's mortgage, like with renting or doing all those things, and that's you. Like, just, I mean, there's no need to actually shame each other. Sometimes we all know our strengths and our capabilities, what we can do and what we cannot do. If you're miserable in a house and you're not happy, then maybe you should rent. If you're miserable renting and you feel like you should have a house, then maybe you should do that. I just sincerely do wish that the houses are built with more better quality than they are. Me being a person that actually makes a lot of impulsive decisions has really hurt me a lot in my life. There are some of us who buy stuff without doing some research. We go into stuff because like we're like, on impulse, like I think I'm ready for this, without doing some research, the downside of it and the good side of it. It actually happens, and at the end of the day you're going to regret it. But I feel like it's very good for you to do your research and know about things before you go into it. Buying a home actually comes with you having to take care of it and being the landlord. Expect that things are going to break, expect that you have to repair and fix all those things, and ask yourself, are you actually ready for it before you go into it? Now for you to just go into it and start complaining because people will be like, you didn't know that before you got into it. And that's just how life is. I've made a lot of decisions without actually checking the downside of it and the good side of it. And I just jumped into it, and later I've just regretted doing that thing. And people told me, why didn't you do your research before you went into it? You should have known that. So do your research before doing anything, please. You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Please make sure you click the like button. It helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time and you want to watch more of my content. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.